Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss a very important poem which was published by T.S. Eliot, and this poem is the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock. This poem was published during the First World War, that is in 1917. This poem is ironic in nature, and this poem reflects the boredom and alienation of a modern man. The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock by T. S. Eliot. Now, as far as the title of this poem is concerned, this title is ironic in nature because this poem is not at all about any type of love. There is no love at all because there is no heroine as such. The speaker is alienated. The speaker is a typical modern persona, and the speaker is scared, the speaker is isolated, the speaker is bored, and this poem is in fact reflects the mood of the speaker. So this poem has been written in a interior monologue. Let us begin this poem. Let us go then, you and I, when the evening is spread out against the sky, like a patient etherized upon a table. Let us go then, you and I. Now there is no you. The you is merely the isolated self of the speaker. So, since the speaker is all alone, the speaker is alienated. Therefore, now it is evening time. He is bored, and therefore he wanted to go outside his flat so that he have some amount of change or recreation. Therefore says he, let us go then, you and I, when the evening is spread out against the sky. Now when there is evening time, let us go somewhere in order to escape from the boredom of my life. Like a patient etherized upon a table, because the people of London or the people of the West, they are bored from top to bottom, and they are as if a patient has been etherized. Now ethers in ancient time or in primitive era is used in order to benumb a patient. So the speaker says, the Prufrock says that the situation of modern youth or modern man is as such that they have become benumbed, they have lost their senses. Let us go through certain half-deserted streets, the muttering retreats of restless nights, in one night cheap hotels and sawdust restaurant with oyster shell. Now, Prufrock says that let us go outside, let us venture outside, let us move here and there, let us wander here and there in streets, and those streets are half deserted, half empty. And while moving on the streets, we will come across muttering retreat, means other people are also moving here and there, and we can hear, we can listen to the footsteps of the people moving here and there on the streets. Of restless night, in one night cheap hotel. Now everybody is bored, everybody is alienated, and therefore they are restless. And sawdust restaurant with oyster shell, and where they can escape their boredom, where they can find any solace or comfort, perhaps in some restaurant. Now restaurants, these artificial restaurants are erected or are established for people like Prufrock, so that while in the evening they can come to these restaurants for a change. Streets that follow like a tedious argument of insidious intent. Now, the speaker says that as far as the streets of London are concerned, they are interconnected, they are non ending, just like a non ending argument. Now, there are certain arguments which never came to an end, they are endless. So, streets that follow like a tedious argument of insidious intent to lead you to an overwhelming question. Now, somewhere the speaker is reminded of an overwhelming question. Now, this overwhelming question is bothering the speaker. Alfred Prufrock is is often now and then he is overpowered by this overwhelming question. Oh, do not ask what is it. Let us go and make our visit. Now, Prufrock is apprehensive. He is not sure enough about that overwhelming question, and therefore he keeps on delaying that overwhelming question. He keeps on procrastinating, and finally says that do not ask about that overwhelming question. Let us go and have some tea and snacks in some cheap restaurant or sawdust restaurant. The in the room the women come and go talking about Michelangelo. Now, as far as the ladies are concerned, the women are concerned, in modern age they are shallow, they are devoid of any gravity. So the speaker says that in those restaurants, along with male, female also comes there in order to escape the boredom of their life, the monotony of their life. And they deliberately talks about art and literature. They deliberately talks about Michelangelo. It appears as if that they wanted to impress upon the listeners or the other visitors in that restaurant. The yellow fog that rubs its back upon the window panes, and the yellow smoke that rubs its muzzle on the window panes, licked its tongue into the corner of the evening, lingered upon the pool that stands in the drain. Now it appears as if that it is the season of winter, perhaps October is going on, and since it is already evening, therefore now the fog has started emanating, and yellow fog and yellow smoke reminds of the rampant industrialization which was going on in Europe. And because of that industrialization, uh, fog has become smog because of pollution. So the yellow fog that rubs its back upon the window panes means the smog is coming from the sky and they are settling somewhere on the earth, and while doing so they are rubbing their backs on the window panes of that restaurant. The yellow fog that rubs its back upon the window panes, the yellow smoke that rubs its muzzle on a window panes. Now the speaker is reminded of a dog, and so he says that the smog is behaving as if the smog is a dog, and it is rubbing its muzzle on the window panes because the speaker is looking at certain precipitation on the window panes. Licked its tongue into the corner of the evening, lingered upon the pool that stands in rain, let fall upon its back the soot that falls from the chimney, slipped by the terrace, made a sudden leap, and seeing that it was a soft October night, curled once about the house and fall asleep. Now the speaker says that since it is October night, and because of pollution the fog has converted into smog, and since smogs are quite heavier, therefore they are settling down, and nearby perhaps there is one chimney, the source of industrialization and the source of pollution. So that smog is settling on the pool, on the drain, and on the terrace, and on the places which are around that restaurant. And indeed, there will be time for the yellow smog that slide along the street, rubbing its back upon the window panes. Now, the speaker says, Prufrock says, that since smog is coming from the sky and they are settling everywhere they found a space, therefore they are doing their work in a very usual and natural manner. But as far as you people are concerned, please do not ask about that overwhelming question. There will be time to prepare a face to meet the faces that you meet. Now, Prufrock knew that certain women also come to those restaurants. Prufrock is a bachelor, but he is a middle-aged bachelor. He is engrossed in his day-to-day life. Now, he wanted to have a meaningful relationship with these women, but perhaps he is scared. Why he is scared? Because of his advancing age. He is a middle-aged man. He wanted to say I love you to one of the women who used to visit that restaurant on a regular basis, but he did not have the courage to say so. And because of that, this very proposal is an overwhelming question. He keeps on procrastinating. So the speaker says, there will be time to prepare a face to meet the faces that you meet. Now says that I am not prepared to ask that overwhelming question, and therefore he procrastinates, he delays his overwhelming question or the proposal of his love affair to a lady who is also perhaps sitting in that restaurant. Now, perhaps that lady did not know that things like that is there in the heart of Prufrock. Now, the love affair is entirely single-handed or one-sided. To prepare the face to meet the faces that you meet, there will be time to murder and create, and time for all the works and days of hand that lift and drop a question on your plate. So the Prufrock procrastinates because he is not sure enough what should be the answer of that lady. So the asking of that question is just like a task of murdering and creating something. Means it's a very Herculean task, difficult task for a person like Prufrock. Prufrock is not sure enough as to what should be the answer of that lady, and because of that, because of this very apprehension, he is unable to ask that overwhelming question. Time for you and time for me, and time yet for 100 indecisions and for 100 visions and revisions before taking of a toast and tea. Now Prufrock is apprehensive from within. He is not sure enough as to what will happen if he will propose to that lady. What shall be her reaction? He is not very sure enough. Therefore, he keeps on revising his indecision. Means the speaker is indecisive, and he keeps on delaying that overwhelming question. And what that overwhelming question is? I want to love, means I want to marry you because I love you. Perhaps this is the overwhelming question, but Prufrock is scared because he is middle aged and he is apprehensive, and because of that he keeps on delaying this very overwhelming question, and says he that yes, okay, I will ask tomorrow, or day after tomorrow. I have enough time, and for time being let me enjoy toast and tea. In the room, the women come and go talking of Michelangelo, and as usual, the women keeps on visiting that restaurant, and they keep on exiting that restaurant. And in order to impress upon their male folk, they deliberately talk about art and literature. But in reality, perhaps they do not know about anything pertaining to Michelangelo. And indeed, there will be time to wonder, do I dare? Do I dare? No. This is interior monologue, and perhaps Prufrock is asking this question to himself, that do I have the enough courage? Do I have the enough strength to ask that overwhelming question? Shall I propose her? Shall I ask her, do you love me? So he is having a conflict of mind. And indeed, there will be time to wonder, do I dare? Do I dare? Time to turn back and descend the stair. Now, as usual, he did not have the enough strength, and therefore, finally, he decided to go back to his room or to his house without proposing to that woman with whom he is in love with. With a bald spot in the middle of my hair, they will say how his hair is growing thin. Now, Why Prufrock is apprehensive? Because of his advancing year. Now he says that if I will propose to that lady, and if in return she will ask that what happened to your hair, why there is a hair fall, why your chin has become thin, then how shall I respond? So the Prufrock is apprehensive and says he that my morning coat, my collar mounting firmly to my chin, my necktie rich and modest, but asserted by a simple pin, they will say, but how his arms and legs are thin. Now Prufrock is a dandy. He's a modern persona. He's a modern youth, or not youth. In fact, he is a middle-aged man. Now, in order to hide his advancing age, he deliberately uses modern stuff like tie, necktie, or other. Means he is as usual. Means he is dressed in a very modest manner, so that he can hide his real age. But he knew that he can hide his body with the help of clothings. But how shall he hide his baldness, or how shall he hide his thin leg and arms? Now that is a problem for Prufrock. Do I dare disturb the universe? In a minute there is time for decisions and revisions, which a minute will reverse. Now, the Prufrock is having an interior monologue. He perhaps is of the opinion that why I am in a hurry, because I have had enough time to propose to her. If not today, tomorrow. If not tomorrow, day after tomorrow. Now, why I am in a hurry? And therefore, he do not want to disturb the universe. Perhaps he is a person who believes in status quo. He is happy in his status quo, and he do not wanted to propose because he is not sure enough about the reaction of that women. Do I dare disturb the universe? In a minute there is time for decisions and revisions, which a minute will reverse. For I have known them already, known them all. Have known the evenings, mornings, afternoons. I have measured out my life with coffee spoon. Now, Prufrock is a true representative of modern man, and says he that it is in fact his day-to-day routine to visit different restaurants which are there in London during evening or morning and afternoon. And as far as his female counterparts are concerned, they too keep on visiting these restaurants on a daily basis. Therefore, perhaps Prufrock, although do not know about the name of these women who are the regular visitors of these restaurants, but he knew them through their faces. And therefore, Prufrock boasts that I have measured my life with coffee spoon, because I have had enough coffees in this restaurant and I know what type of women are they. I know the voice dying with the fall beneath the music from the farther room. And I have known the eyes already, known them all, the eyes that fix you in a formulated phrase. And when I am formulated, sprawling on a pin, when I am pinned and wriggling on the wall, then how should I begin? Now, Prufrock says that as far as these women are concerned, he knew about their objective. Perhaps these women are also a spinster, they are also alone, and they are also in search of their partners. So whenever they saw any bachelor, they used to stare. They means she used to stare them in such a way that that person becomes very uncomfortable. So Prufrock says that these women have also tried to stare at him many a times, and whenever they used to stare him, he starts behaving as if he has been pinned on a wall. To spit out all the butt ends of my days and ways. Butt end means the end of cigarette. So he says that my life has become the butt end of the cigarette, because in order to kill time, I keep on smoking, and I keep on all the modern usage which a modern person used to consume. And how should I presume? Now he keeps on revisiting again and again that how shall I begin? How shall I begin means how shall I ask my question? How that overwhelming question which keeps on bothering me again and again. And I have known the arms already, arms of these women, known them all, arms that are braceleted and white and bare. Now Prufrock knew that as far as these women are concerned, their objective is almost quite similar to that of himself. They too are alienated, and they too perhaps are in search of a partner. And because of that, they keep on visiting these restaurants. And Prufrock has seen these women again and again multiple times. But in the lamplight, downed and downed brown hair, is it perfume from a dress that makes me so digress? Now, the moment Prufrock comes near these women, he became uneaseful, means he became uneasy, because the perfume coming from the dresses of these women, these modern women, these typical alienated modern women, makes him digress, makes him confused and apprehensive. Arms that lie along a table or wrap about a shawl, arms of these women. And should I then presume? And how should I begin? Now, Prufrock is unable to understand as to how he shall start, how he shall begin, because he cannot directly say that since I love you, therefore I want to marry you. Now, this is very difficult for him to ask, and because of that, he is unable to understand as to how he shall begin his relationship with the women perhaps he is in love with. So this is all about the first part, and the rest of the poem I will discuss in the second part. Now, as far as this typical modern poem is concerned, this poem talks about the predicament of a typical modern man who is alienated, who is bored, and who wanted to have a meaningful relationship, but he is apprehensive, perhaps because of his advancing age, and perhaps he is not sure enough as to what shall be the reaction of the women. So thank you very much.